Hey there guys, Mike here with Everything Outdoors, and today for this episode we are going to be putting some hidden insert technology inserts into these Easton full metal jacket carbon arrows. These are 400 grain arrows, and I'm going to go through the process on how to fully install these and everything you need to do to clean in the arrows, how to mix the adhesive, and how to properly insert the actual hit inserts to the correct depth into the carbon arrow. So I'm going to bring you guys close to the arrow and we're going to get it. Okay guys, so here we have the arrows, we have our epoxy, we have our hit inserts, and we have our hit insert tool. This is everything we need, and I got some scissors to open the epoxy. And what you want to do before you start installing these hit inserts is make sure you use the grinder to get any burrs out of the arrows from when you cut them. That will smooth your arrow shafts down, so then your when you put your broadhead on, it'll sit flatter. So you do that, and then after you do that, you want to get some alcohol and some Q-tips and clean the inside to get all the clean all the dust out of the carbon arrows, or your epoxy isn't going to stick right and it's not going to bond, and then when you go to pull your arrows out, your hit inserts are going to pull right out of the arrow, and you're going to be losing broadheads and field tips, so you don't want to do that. I've done that. I've used super glue, and super glue does not work, and my hit inserts just pulled right out, and I lost broadheads, I lost field tips, so I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to use the hit epoxy. Okay, so here we're going to cut this epoxy open so then we can get our amount of epoxy right. On this epoxy thing, there is a cut line. It tells you where you want to cut, so we're going to cut where it tells us to. And now when you do this, you want to get like 50-50 of each. And I got a piece of white paper here, put it on. So we're going to see how this works. Now when you're doing this, you don't need a whole lot, but after you put it in there, you want to make sure your arrows sit nice and flat after you put them in, or else the hit insert's just going to run down the shaft, and then you're never going to be able to screw in your broadheads. So now we have our epoxy half and half, so now we're going to get a little Q-tip. I'm going to break it off and we're going to mix it together. Okay, so I broke the end of a Q-tip off, and now we're just going to use this to bond the epoxy and mix it. You want to mix it really well so that it bonds. You get a good, nice adhesive. Now, this is the first time I'm using this epoxy, so I'm hoping it works. I called it Easton, and they said that they recommend you use it once you use the epoxy. You shouldn't have a problem like I had with them pulling out. So as I'm mixing this, you want to mix it till it becomes like a light brownish, kind of. You'll see the color change. You'll know when it's good to mix. Let me stop mixing. Alright, so now we have our epoxy mixed. Now you want to visualize what side of the hit insert has the threads on it, because that's the one you want to make sure is in the front of the arrow, the one opposite of your blazer rings. So then your broadhead will screw into this. You don't want to put it in backwards, or your broadhead's not going to screw in, and then you're going to have to figure a way out how to get these out. So what we're going to do is I visualize that the threads are on this side. So I'm gonna put the epoxy on it, and then we are going to install the first hit insert. So we're gonna rub it in the epoxy pretty well without getting it on the threads. Try not to get on the threads. That's a little much. So now we're gonna install this. We're just gonna push it in here, and as we're pushing it in, we are going to wipe the glue off of this. Push it in flush with the arrow. Make sure all the glue is off of it. Now this is where you use the hit insert tool. This will put it at the correct depth. So you just push it down in there, and that's all there is to it. This thing will get it to the correct depth so that it won't be too far or too long. And then if it's too short up and you don't put it far enough down, your field points and your broadheads are not gonna sit flush with your carbon arrow. So you wanna make sure you use that tool because it gets it at the correct depth. So that's one arrow, and I'll bring you guys back and we'll do the second arrow. Okay guys, so we're gonna start with the second arrow. Once again, visualize what end has the threads so you don't put it in backwards. Rub it into the epoxy. You don't need a lot of it. I used a lot on the first one, so I'm not going to use this much this time. And you don't need to put the whole thing in the epoxy, just the part you'll see if you ever use these. They have little threads on it. Just put epoxy on them. Insert it in your carbon arrow. Now when you get it almost all the way through, once again, get all that excess epoxy off the tip of your carbon arrow, and then push this on down, just flush with it, and then use your hit tool to push it down in there and put it at the correct depth. And just give it a couple twists and pull out. And you should have a nice, clean, installed hit insert. Now I like these. I think Easton is smart for using them. They put a lot of weight at the front of the carbon arrow, and it allows the arrow to push through the animal a lot faster and gives you that more kinetic energy on the arrow. So you're gonna get a nice clean pass through, and then if you have these installed in your arrows, you know your arrow is gonna go right through your animal. Now these are 16 grain tips, so they don't weigh a lot, but they do help you out in the long run. Gonna insert the hit tool, push it on down in there, give it a little twist, and that should be good. Now I only installed 3 of them. You can buy them in packs, a 12 pack. I bought the 12 pack for $9.99, and I believe you could get a 6 pack. I don't know how much they are. And if you're not sure on what size tip you need, I would recommend to call Easton. and ask them what they say, what size you should use. Okay guys, so here we have the one arrow that I finished before I've installed all these other hit inserts. This has a field point on it, 100 grain tip, and 400 grain arrow with a 16 grain hit insert installed. So this is the full metal jackets, they're very good arrows. I love them. Never had a problem with them. Easton is a great company, great customer service. If you have any arrow problems with them, just give them a call and they will be sure to help you. They've always helped me out. So Easton is a good company, and I think everyone should shoot Easton arrows. I will be putting some arrow wraps on these down the road, and I'm going to get the Cameron Haynes arrow wraps. If anyone don't know who he is, just search Cameron Haynes bow hunting on YouTube, and he's pretty awesome. And he'll teach you how to be a good person in life and a better hunter. Okay guys, so here is the arrows. I'm going to bring them up close to you so you can see them. So these are my arrows. I have some green and white blazer veins on these, X-Nox, and this is just a really good looking arrow. I like the look of it, very mean looking. These are cut at 27 inches. That is a 100 grain field tip. And then these are the tools that we used on the installation of the hit inserts. You have a hit insert tool. These all come with the package if you buy them from Easton. These are the actual inserts. See how they have the little grooves on these? That's where you want to put your adhesive. And then there's your threads right there. That's where the actual broadhead will screw into. So you don't want to put this end on going towards the blazer veins. I've seen people do that before and it's pretty funny. So just be aware of which way you're inserting the hit insert. Just remember the groove end always towards the blazer veins, and you should be fine. Here's a little sander before you actually install the hit inserts. This will take the burrs out. Just put your arrow on a little knob there and give it a couple twists. Make sure everything's all nice and smooth, and then your arrow will sit nice and flat up against your broadhead will sit nice and flat up against the carbon arrow. And then we have the bow. I'll just go over it real quick. We have these came with the bow and I bought it. These are limb silencers. I bought this bow off Amazon. I won it on an auction. So then we have the Trophy Ridge stabilizer, string stopper. I might change this to red, and I'm gonna get I can't remember the company of the strings that I'm gonna get new strings from, but I'm gonna get new strings. We have the HHA Optimizer Light Ultra 0.10 thousandths pin. We have our nice D-loop, which is really long. I don't like how the people put that on there. I don't like the long D-loop, so I'm going to change that. We have our peep sight, a G5 Meta Peep. I believe it's a 1/4 inch peep. And that's a bow, 7 1/4 inch brace height. I think it's a 32.5 axle to axle. This is set at 60 pounds with a 26.5 inch draw length. So it's a good shooting bow. I didn't shoot it through the chronograph yet. I will be doing that maybe this weekend. I'm not sure. Probably actually after these arrows. I'm gonna let these sit just like this for 24 hours, and then I'll be good to shoot. Alright everyone, so if you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. There'll be a lot of videos like this coming up in near future. If any of you guys like anything you want to see on bows, just let me know in the comments or send me a message. And until next time, strength and honor. Be well.